Do you live in a city where it's hard to get to the airport, or you got to pay a lot of fees to get into the Ubers or Lyfts and say, man, they're always surge pricing? Would you be open to going to a remote location and going through security to then get to the airport to where you don't have to stand in those long lines? Y'all saw what happened back in Thanksgiving during the holidays, how long those lines were. Would you be willing to go to a remote location? Look, they have a pilot program that's rolling out starting on June 1st in Boston. Logan Airport, they're launching a pilot program that lets you skip security lines at Boston Logan International Airport entirely. What you do is you complete your check-in, you drop your bags, and go through a full TSA security screening at a remote terminal in a town called Framingham, Massachusetts, which is about 25 miles west of the airport. So basically, you're going to a whole nother area. And then after clearing security at the remote site located at another area, you board a secure shuttle bus operated by the Landline company. So a third party, you go through TSA, but then a third party contractor buses you to the airport. The bus drives you directly to the airport, drops you off. You pass the security gate inside of Terminal A for Delta flights or Terminal C for JetBlue flights. And the service costs you $9 each way. Parking at the suburban or the remote location costs you $7 per day, or you can get dropped off. Now, the thing is, you don't have to go through security. They drop you off right there at the terminal, and all you got to do is just walk straight to your gate. So you go to this remote location that's 25 miles away. You go through security. They load your bags. They handle your bags for you. And the question is, would you be okay with doing this? Now, here's some things on why you might be interested in doing it. You don't have to walk through a massive airport terminals with all your luggage, and you don't have to stand in the lines. This setup lets you drop your bags and clear security in a much smaller single level facility. And then they're also saying that the airport is expensive. How much does it cost? I think it's about $30 a day in Atlanta. Can you imagine in your local area, your city, your town, whatever it is that you pay, and now all you have to do is pay $7 per day to park? And then also, professionals can avoid the unpredictable gridlock of traffic. Now, you already know traffic is a beast trying to just get to the airport if you live in a major metropolitan city, whether it's LAX, whether it's New York, Atlanta, of course. Instead of paying surge prices for an Uber or Lyft to sit in airport traffic, passengers can just get dropped off at the suburban location closer to their home, especially if you live out there in the suburbs. And then group travel becomes easier when you can consolidate luggage and pass security checkpoints together in a quieter environment before boarding the bus. Now, why should you care? Now, they say you don't need to be a tech genius to do all of this. They said the booking happens at the Massport website. So you just go on the website up to 90 days in advance. But the actual process on the ground, you literally have to go through the physical human interaction. You talk to the real TSA agents. You check your physical ID and scan your bag. So there's no TSA pre-check. There's no global entry. There's none of that. You have to go through the regular lines. You got to take off your shoes. You got to take off your belt. You got to go through the regular line. There's no TSA pre-check. You just got to go through it. But at least you don't have to deal with automated kiosks. You don't have to deal with digital bag tags. And you don't have to deal with the bellhops that's outside. You literally just go inside. You give them your ID. You go through security, they take your bags, you get on the bus, you ride 25 miles to the airport. Now, there's a couple caveats that you need to keep in mind. You got to arrive at the terminal of this suburban location at least 2 hours before your flight departure. If you miss your scheduled hourly bus, well, you're going to miss that bus. And they said the pilot phase only covers Delta and JetBlue passengers with flights departing between 5:30 in the morning and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So late afternoon and evening flights cannot use this service. And like I said earlier, there's no pre-check. You have to go through the actual security checkpoint. So, Revis, your thoughts on this? You like it? You like the idea? Or are you saying, no, I'm not feeling it? Or, you know what, they need to expand this to my neighborhood?
You know, I have been on many flights, and I have been on flights from Iowa to Michigan, but I had to go through Chicago. And I had to stand in line forever and ever and ever and ever. I think they need to bring it out to a lot more places than Boston. I realize Boston is just a test pilot right now, but I got a feeling this right here is going to be a hit. Good job, TSA.
Okay. Now, the cool thing about this is not a contracted job from a third party company. It is actually TSA workers. So TSA workers will not lose their jobs. This is actually TSA just being funneled into a suburban location, and then you'll be bussed in. My only concern that I personally have is, what about bad weather? You have me out here, and then now I'm out here at this location that you said be here at, and then now you got bad weather, and then now I miss my flight. Ish happens. You know what I'm saying? Hit the spot. The 1006 says she's in. She said it's cheaper. It seems like it's no different than Clear or other services, just cheaper. No, the biggest thing, hit the spot 1006, is it's at a remote location. So instead of you going through Clear and you have to go, like if you go to New York or you go through Boston Airport, you have to walk and walk and walk to get to your terminal. They're going to drop you off right at your terminal. So you don't have to wait for this opportunity. So let's say you live out in the suburbs or wherever the city is that you stay in, and you get there 2 hours in advance, you go through security checkpoint, they bus you to that location. So now you don't have to fight traffic. You don't have to ride public transportation. You don't have to pay for an Uber or a Lyft. They bus you, and then when they bus you, they take you right to your gate if you're on Delta or JetBlue. It takes you straight to that terminal, and all you do is just walk to whatever your actual gate number is. Whereas if you go through Clear or you go through PreCheck, you still got to walk to the terminal, depending on how big the airport is. Now, if you're in a small town like a San Antonio, you're right there. But if you're in a big city, my question, Revis, is I know that this is an American thing, but what if they took this and made this international? Because some of those terminals are huge internationally.
Well, that's a good question for Hit the Spot 1006. And of course, you who travels on a budget, uh, I don't leave the country, so it's not going to affect me. But if the terminals are big, hey, this is going to be a big thing. Yeah, you meet somewhere remotely, and it takes you, inside the terminal, and you ain't got to do all that walking and everything else. It's going to be, I see, it's going to be a hit.
If you are on your phone and you're watching the Lab Tech Show, let us know in the comments right here. What do you think of the new TSA program on your phone? If you're watching, one, I like it. They need to expand this to my town. Two, there will be many issues with this, especially traffic. Three, the parking prices have my attention. Four, this is great for suburbians. Or five, people will still be late. 1 through 5, let me know in the comments. What do you think of the new TSA program? Let me see. I'm interested to see how this test pilot plays out. Right. So it's rolling out June 1st. It's rolling out June 1st, y'all. So I'm just letting you know. We don't know how long the test pilot program will be going, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. This sounds like it'll create more jobs, which is a great thing. Now, to be honest with you, I think this is what is, yes and no. I think they're going to shuffle some of those TSA employees to this remote location. It does give the contract to some drivers, and then of course they're going to have to sell food, and then you got to also pay the parking attendants, right? Unless they do the automation where you have to prepay or use your credit card at the kiosk machine. So let us know in the comments, what do you think? Sean James says 5 people will still be late. That'll never work international. Imagine Heathrow or Switzerland or Dubai. Heck no. Now, James, I'm just saying, you're in the suburbs, so instead of just trying to get to the major area, you just go to this remote location and then they already bus you. What if they even work out a situation where they give you a dedicated police escort? I'm not saying that they would do that, but what if they had a police escort if it was like bad traffic or if it was bad weather? They have to get these people to these flights. I don't think that they thought that far out, but I do think that this is something that we could see in the potential. Hey, you got me out here in the suburbs. I tested your program or your pilot program. The least you can do is guarantee that I can get to the airport in advance, and the only there is a police escort. You don't think that
Well,
would
you
not
know,
fly?
you're talking about James Hicks. He's going to have a police escort anyway. He's a celebrity.
Well, that's true too. I'm with you, James. It won't work not overseas. Now, think Dulles and BWI too. That ain't gonna work. Okay, well, it's a test program. They said if it pulls off, this could be in an airport near you. Now, we're looking at finding ways to expand and not deal with long lines. We saw what happened when there was a government shutdown and how long those lines were. People were actually standing in lines for other people. Well, instead of you having to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning because you live all the way on the other side of town, you could literally say, I'm just going to drive right down the street and I can get work done. Just imagine, James, you just had your show. You want to edit some video. You on a shuttle bus and you got a whole hour to get to your location. You get to work or you can get some sleep. And then as soon as you get to the terminal, they drop you off in the terminal to where you have to do no walking. All you got to do is just walk to your gate. You ain't got to run through, oh, is it A, B, or C terminal? No, you drop you off right there. Think about Vegas, how you got to ride the SkyTrain. It drops you off right there. Can you imagine that? I don't know. 5 is going to be the real cause of number 2. This is going to eventually be automated, creating less jobs. Interesting. He said, you right. International going to need a police escort. Yeah. And James, you right. Talbot will still be on his time. Yeah, you right. I am. Well, it's still a test pilot. That's all I can say. It is a test pilot, and we'll see how it works. It starts effectively June 1st, 2026. And we'll see how it works to maybe it starts to roll out and expand. So if you're in the Boston area, maybe this might be something that you might be willing to try if you're willing to fly JetBlue or Delta. See the comments. What did they say? Most of you guys said, I like it. They need to expand this to my town. Let's roll with it. And a couple of y'all said, people still going to be late. I ain't doing that. It's only 25 miles. It's 15 minutes. Sounds like a setup for kidnapping locally or internationally. All right, Solo. Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. You never know. You never know how it might work out. You know what I'm saying? You just never know.
Tap in with us. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We simplify it for you. You can't say we didn't tell you. See y'all there. Don't miss out.